Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the main news on Camnet TV. My name is Sylvia Zulu. Here are the top stories making headlines in our news tonight. Water rationing to begin in Lasaka due to load shedding. UPND issues 7-day ultimatum to Auditor General over CDF misappropriation. Ex-State House spokesperson Chander challenges 12 months sentence. In international news, death toll from South Africa building collapse rises to 23. And in sports news, Arrows sweep the ABSA Cup awards. I will be back with the details shortly after this break.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
Thank you so much for staying with us, and now the news in detail. Effective May 13th, Lasaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company Limited will implement water rationing due to power supply challenges faced by ZESCO Limited. Speaking during a press briefing, Lasaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company Limited Managing Director, Engineer Gregory Chiri, says the company heavily relies on electricity-powered pumping systems, making it vulnerable. He says due to this, they will reduce water supply hours from 18 to 10 daily, as they are losing 8 hours of production time due to ZESCO load management program.
The Lasaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company have May 13, 2024 announced that it has started rationing water supply in Lasaka due to the ongoing load management by ZESCO. Speaking at a press briefing, Lasaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company Managing Director, Engineer Gregory Chiri, says with the ongoing electricity supply constraints on water production and distribution facilities and the decline in underground water levels due to drought that have affected the ability to produce and sustain consistent water supply as required, thereby affecting service delivery to the company's customers. Engineer Chiri says the company's dependence on electric pumping machinery is hindering their production capacity, which has led to Lasaka Water and Sewerage Company to settle for solar PV systems as an alternative energy, with about 5 sites already on solar to mitigate the effects of load shedding on water supply.
Of course, officially we are announcing it today. That is something that we have started in a few areas to load management, but officially we are announcing it today. Ration supply. Rationing supply means that you probably don't supply for 8 hours, then you supply for the remainder of the period. Now, if you are going to receive water for the period that your water is going to be available, our meter is going to give the volume that you have consumed. Therefore, we still expect our customers to pay their bills, because this is what helps us buy chemicals and also just to improve service delivery. So please, I want to urge our customers to pay our bills on time.
Mr. Chiri also reveals that the company has invested significantly in upgrading the water network flexibility and urged customers to use water responsibly.
Our installations are load managed. There's load shedding on our installations. Therefore, so long as the load shedding is there, the rationing will continue. However, for certain installations, mitigation measures are going to be put in place. I cannot state when and what, but of course, something that we are working on in the background, and then you will be informed at an appropriate time when we are ready with those mitigation measures.
Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lasaka.
Over 200 GCE candidates are in shambles after they paid examination fees at a named school in Lasaka but have not been issued examination numbers despite the exams being scheduled for July 2024. The affected candidates, who opted to remain anonymous, tell Camnet News that they paid for their examination fees in January but were allegedly given fake examination numbers via WhatsApp. They claim these came to light after they engaged the Examination Council of Zambia, ECZ, who informed them that the examination numbers were fake and under the registration of other people from 2022, and that the school was not a recognized examination center owing to exam malpractice.
These are among the over 200 General Certificate of Education GCE students who have been left in distress after paying their examination fees at a named school in Lasaka but have not been issued credible examination numbers. The affected candidates, who opted to remain anonymous, have lamented to Camnet News how they paid thousands of monies in January meant to cater for their examination fees only to be issued allegedly fake examination numbers via WhatsApp. They have revealed that when they engaged the Examination Council of Zambia, ECZ, over the matter, they were told that the examination numbers they were given were under the registration of other candidates from 2022 and as such were not recognized by ECZ. The candidates, who then sought clarity from management upon these findings, were subjected to unconvincing responses from management, a situation which has further delayed their progress. One of the affected candidates has lamented how inconveniencing this development has been to her, especially having to come back for the same thing at the school for months.
I paid my money for GCE. That was on the 31st of January. After I paid, I wasn't given the exam number up to date. I've been asking my teachers to say where are my exam numbers. They've been telling me stories from one story to another, from one story to another. Now it's too much because others have already written my practicals, but for us there is nothing. When we come here, they've been telling us stories, to say no, next week you'll be writing your practicals this week. They've been postponing all this while. And then I reached to an extent of going to the ECZ to go and find out, because one of the teachers gave me a fake exam number, of which after I went to ECZ, I was told that the exam number that they gave me was for 2022.
With practicals not yet done, but time still ticking, this development has continued to raise panic among the candidates. Another candidate has called for the intervention of higher authorities in the matter.
For GCE at Namlunga School in February on the 6th. So from that time, we've been waiting for our exam numbers to be released. So we've been communicating with one of the teachers at school. We came with our friends to find out if our exam numbers are out. So when we came, we were told that the exam numbers are in process, but our friends received the exam numbers. So from there, we went to report the case to the police, and the police started doing the investigations. They went to ECZ and they got a letter to say Namlunga has no center, and we are given wrong exam numbers, of which ECZ confirmed to say our exam numbers are invalid.
So we're just asking for help. If there's still time, if ECZ can help us to can make us enter in different schools so that we should write our exams, because some of us we've delayed with school and we want to finish with school. But what they've done, we were so disappointed with Namlunga. We thought as though we can do as we'll write our exams, but with the help with the police, they say that Namlunga is not registered with what is right in GCE because of malpractice. Was closed in 2022.
Fueled by distress, the candidates, today Monday, engaged the Zambia police where they reported the matter and have since issued a call out for the school. However, when engaged for a comment, management for the school denied issuing a comment to the media. Camnet News will, however, continue to follow up this matter for further developments and will be on course to keep the public abreast. Chander for Camnet News in Lasaka.
Republican President Hakainde has taken up the position of champion of foundation learning in Africa after a request made by Association for the Development of Education in Africa and the Ministry of Education. Speaking during a press briefing, Minister of Education Douglas Yakalima says this decision by the president is a significant move towards enhancing education across the continent. Mr. Siakalima emphasizes that this role will enable Zambia to advocate for policies and initiatives supporting early childhood development. Meanwhile, he notes that the ministry continues to distribute learning materials and desks to schools nationwide.
Foundational learning is a building block for pupils that allows learners to acquire skills needed to succeed in learning at an early age. The Republican President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, has accepted to take up the position of Foundational Learning Champion for the African continent. Speaking during a press briefing, Minister of Education Douglas Siakalima says the head of state is the first champion on the continent, and this shows the strides the country is making towards improving education. Mr. Siakalima says with the head of state being champion, he will be able to encourage stakeholders to dedicate more resources in improving learning across Africa. The minister adds that the ministry will rally behind the president to support his efforts of having quality education around the continent.
We are pleased to announce that the Republican president has graciously accepted to take up this prestigious position. This historical decision marks him as the first ever champion of foundational learning on the continent, a momentous occasion for our country and a significant stride towards improving education across our continent. Foundational learning in Africa is confronted with several challenges. These include, but not limited to, the following: limited access to education due to poverty. The president will leverage his leadership, image, influence, and foundational learning accomplishments in Zambia to encourage fellow heads of state and government and other stakeholders to dedicate more efforts and investments to improving foundational learning and addressing learning poverty in Africa.
He has also clarified that the ministry is still delivering learning materials and desks to schools across the country.
Infrastructure will continue constructing until our children fit in. But the avalanche of people thirst for knowledge is quite large for us. Then you realize you only had 4 million children. Today there are 6 million children in school.
And Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Joe Kamoko, had this to say.
There is no better honor for a man who fights for social justice and desires an educated nation than our president to receive the honor that he has received. But it burdens us then to be a nation that can work hard. You cannot be having the honor honored by the world when back home our practice is to the contrary. My challenge to ECE and primary is that we need to clean our boots while running.
Meanwhile, in a related matter, Director of Curriculum Development Dr. Charles Ndakala says the new curriculum is ready and will soon be launched by the President or the Minister of Education.
In December last year, so after the input from the stakeholders, the final document was drafted and submitted to Cabinet Office, which is undergoing the clearance process. After that, I think there will be a launch either by the Minister or even the Head of State once the framework has been cleared.
Foundational learning will focus on early childhood learners aged from 3 to 10 years of age and pupils in grades from preschool to grade 4. Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lasaka.
The United Party for National Development, UPND, has issued a 7-day ultimatum to the Auditor General to effectively carry out audits in Kalabo District following revelations of the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, being misappropriated. Speaking at a media briefing, UPND Presidential Campaign member Vene Hachombwa has called upon the Anti-Corruption Commission and other law enforcement agencies to work together with the Office of the Auditor General. He adds that it is unfortunate that some office bearers in Kalabo District are taking advantage of the money meant to spearhead development in the various constituencies across the country. Meanwhile, governance and human rights advocate Wesley Mianda has described the revelation in the audit report as a drawback for a country making efforts to better the lives of its people.
The Constituency Development Fund, CDF, is a government initiative that seeks to spearhead development in various constituencies across the country, with government increasing the allocation of the funds from 1.8 million kwacha to 30.6 million kwacha per constituency. It is of no doubt that each constituency is expected to get the much desired development in their areas, as through CDF, constituencies are able to embark on various projects of development such as infrastructure development, healthcare initiatives, education programs and social welfare projects. However, this unfortunately has not been the case, as the latest Auditor General's report on local authorities has revealed financial discrepancies in the allocation of CDF funds in Kalabo District of Western Province. It has been revealed that some officials from Kalabo District Council allegedly connived with members of the public to dubiously draw money from the CDF, a situation which has dismayed government. Minister of Finance and National Planning, Dr. Stombeko Msokotwane, said preliminary information revealed that some council officials, in coalition with some members of the public, have registered unauthorized cooperatives and clubs. Following these revelations, the United Party for National Development UPND, at a media briefing in Lusaka, has called on the Auditor General's office to effectively carry out lifestyle audits on office bearers in Kalabo District to establish the masterminds of this development. UPND Presidential Campaign Team member Benea Chombwa has urged the Anti-Corruption Commission and other law enforcement agencies to take in interest in this development and ensure that individuals involved are brought to book.
We would dedicate May to fight the thieves of CDF. We shall send a dedication. May is the fight against the thieves for CDF. Those that have stolen what? Grants for the vulnerable people in society. Skills development, where for somebody who wants to take a child to a skills trainer, you need to pay something to some council, the VODC. We wondered why people were fighting to bid in the committees for CDF, the VODCs, not knowing that that is where the theft is. But we want to make it very clear, colleagues from the media, that our role as a member of the party is to ensure that this document that we have called the party manifesto is followed.
He adds that it is unfortunate that the money meant to bring development in constituencies is being used for selfish motives.
Everyone to be accountable. To what? To this money. Because this is the money meant for an ordinary person. And the person who drafted this manifesto knew that at some time there will be crooks like this, and we have it now. So we are asking that quickly this document be respected by our colleagues in government by, number one, ensuring that all custodians involved in the processing of the Constituency Development Fund are not exempted from a lifestyle audit.
Meanwhile, governance and human rights advocate Wesley Mianda has described the revelation as a drawback, especially for a country that has made strides in bettering the lives of its citizens.
Revelations that we are receiving, that in some constituencies there is some kind of misuse of constituency development funds by the local people, by the local authorities, and all those that are manning the program. You know, this is making a sad reading because, you know, CDF being a game changer is supposed to actually be used to develop communities. This is the money that is coming from the central government, just to ensure that you know, people get empowered. But it's unfortunate that some people have actually become so selfish that they've decided to hold on to CDF, to misappropriate CDF. At the end of the day, most of the CDF projects, now CDF funded projects, have stalled.
Chander for Camnet News in Lusaka.
A Lusaka-based governance expert, Gregory Chiri, views the alleged booing of the Republican president as a positive sign for democracy, emphasizing citizens' right to express opinions freely without fear. In an interview, Mr. Chiri suggests that the government should take these expressions as feedback to address people's concerns. Meanwhile, ruling UPND National Youth spokesperson Phineas Pumulo denies the booing incident and urges youth from both parties to act respectfully.
To some, the noise in the video above is considered as booing. But to the United Party for National Development, UPND youths, the president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, was given a thunderous greeting whilst leaving the Heroes Stadium, where he went to witness the ABSA Cup final between Kabwe Warriors and Red Arrows on Sunday. In an interview, UPND National Youth spokesperson Phineas Pumulo says the Patriotic Front must provide substantial evidence that the head of state was indeed booed at. Mr. Pumulo has also urged the PF to desist from taking politics to football stadium as football brings the country together.
The president was never booed at Heroes Stadium. The president received a thunderous welcome at the stadium from the fans who went to watch the game. It is very unfortunate that the PF wanted to plant some people to boo the president at Heroes Stadium. Unfortunately, you don't take politics into football stadiums. That you don't do. Football unites us as people. So if the PF want to take their politics into football stadiums, we are going to meet them there. We are going to meet them there. Because we know what PF cadres did to us at the time that we were in opposition. We are also capable to do what the PF did to us when we were in opposition. They should always remember that it is because of President Hakainde Hichilema. That's why these PF chaps are enjoying this freedom that they're enjoying today.
Meanwhile, commenting on the recent development, governor's expert Gregory Chiri says what occurred at Heroes Stadium solidifies the fact that Zambians are enjoying the freedom of expression. He says every politician has been subjected to booing in one way or another. Therefore, the UPND administration should welcome all sorts of reactions from citizens in various parts of the country.
To express themselves in whatever manner. It also shows that citizens now are free to hold divergent views. It's a healthy democracy. But however, as a government as they are, as a current government, they need to check themselves all the time and they see that they perform according to expectations. Yes, the current status that cost of living is high and so on and so forth. It affects everyone and it has generally been like that. Every government that comes in, things are not going backwards, things are going up all the time.
Cherish Siwote for Camnet News, Lasaka.
Former State House Press Aide Amos Chander has filed a notice of intention to appeal in the High Court decision to convict and sentence him to 12 months imprisonment with hard labor and a fine of 5,000 kwacha. According to the former spokesman, there was no sufficient evidence presented in court that he stole and destroyed court documents. Mr. Chander has also applied for bail pending appeal on grounds that doing so would provide time to provide requisites for the appeal. On Friday, the Lasaka Magistrate convicted and sentenced the former State House Press Aide under the Edgar Lungu administration, Amos Chander, to 12 months imprisonment with hard labor for stealing court documents and a 5,000 kwacha fine for destroying them.
On Friday, 10th May 2024, the Lasaka Magistrate Court slapped former spokesman to former President Edgar Lungu, Amos Chander, a 12 months imprisonment with hard labor for stealing court documents and a 5,000 kwacha fine for destroying them. The established destroyed court documents are in connection with a case in which Mr. Chander was the third accused person jointly charged with Mr. Eonahasi and Zinda Wasoko, but the Director of Public Prosecutions on May 12, 2020 entered a nolle prosequi and the three were discharged of the offense. But in rendering judgment Friday, Magistrate Irene Wishimanga explained that it was heard in the audio produced before the court by an investigations officer from the Drug Enforcement Commission DEC that the convict is the one who took the court record and destroyed them by burning it into ashes, a revelation which was recorded by a DEC officer as the convict disclosed to his colleagues at a named hotel in Lusaka. Disappointed with the court's judgment, Amos Chander has filed a notice to appeal the court's verdict, claiming lack of sufficient evidence to warrant his imprisonment. In the notice filed before the Lasaka Magistrate Court, Mr. Chander argues that the court misdirected itself in law and fact by convicting him for the offense of theft and destruction of evidence when there was no sufficient evidence produced by the prosecution warranting the conviction. He submits that the court erred in law and fact when it avoided the evidence of the prosecution, indicating there was no record stolen, and went on to convict Mr. Chander on tempered evidence. The convict has also applied for bail pending appeal, as he believes that his appeal will succeed on the basis that he has been compliant with the court's directives from trial to conviction stage. He submits that admitting him to bail pending appeal will provide him sufficient time to prepare for the prosecution of appeal. The court is yet to rule on the bail pending appeal application. 2 months ago, the former State House press aide appealed against a 7 months imprisonment for obstructing Anti-Corruption Commission officers, SCC, from conducting their duty during an investigation which was slapped on him, his wife Mebona Kaundi, and his sister-in-law. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
A real estate agent, Lombe Walia, 49, has testified before Lasaka Magistrate Resident Magistrate Davis Chiwili that former Lasaka Province Minister Bowman Lusambo bought land from him upon completion of the purchase in 2020. Mr. Lusambo issued him with a certificate of incorporation for company to transfer the said land to it on the title deed and property transfer valued at 250,000 kwacha. In this matter, Mr. Lusambo and his wife pleaded not guilty to 10 counts of corrupt acquisition of public property, possession of property suspected of being proceeds of crime, tax evasion, and conspiracy to defraud.
A real estate agent has told the Lasaka Magistrate Court that he had a land transaction with former Lasaka Province Minister Bowman Lusambo valued at 140,000 kwacha for a plot in 2020. Walia told the court that upon completion of the purchase of the piece of land in 2020, Mr. Lusambo was desirous that the company issues him with a title deed for plot number 19884, of which the accused gave him a certificate of incorporation of a company to which the title transfer was done. Walia testified that from their side, as a real estate agent, they applied for the property transfer and the property transfer tax was adjusted to 250,000 kwacha. When asked in cross-examination by defense lawyer Nkola Bota if the due process was followed, the witness responded in the affirmative. When further asked to clarify the name where the property transfer was done, the witness told the court that the transfer was from Apache Trading Limited to Mbachi Motors Trading Limited. The witness also maintained that tax was paid for the transaction he was involved in. In this matter, Bowman Lusambo and his wife, Nancy, pleaded not guilty to 10 counts of corrupt acquisition of public property, possession of property suspected of being proceeds of crime, tax evasion, and conspiracy to defraud. Lusambo is facing all the 10 charges, while his wife is only facing 4. In count 1, Lusambo is alleged to have between May 10, 2015 and December 31, 2021, with unknown persons, unlawfully acquired a property in the name of Frontier Management Services Limited, which was later conveyed to Jignesh Son at 880,000 kwacha for his benefit. In count 2, it is alleged that Mr. Lusambo, on March 26, 2021, acting with unknown persons, possessed 880,000 kwacha, which he allegedly directed to be deposited in Sylvia Chongo Mutale's bank account, funds deemed to be proceeds of crime. In the third count, it is alleged that the former Lasaka minister, between May 4, 2018 and December 31, 2018, in Lasaka with unknown persons with intent to evade tax, invaded the payment of property transfer tax to Zambia Revenue Authority in respect to a farm which was conveyed from Lusambo to Mbachi Nkwazi at a consideration fee of $150,000 among other allegations. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
We now take our first break. I will be back with more news. Stay tuned.
Potatoes, the unsung heroes of flavor. From crispy chips to creamy mash, potatoes are the versatile superstars of your kitchen. Grown with love by our dedicated workforce drawn from around the community of Palavana. Savenda Farm's commitment is to see to it that we have potatoes that are grown right, healthy, big and tasty. For that quick fix or big celebration or that meal that brings family together, top chefs rely on the Savenda potato to create culinary masterpieces. And for others, it's that icebreaker to a delightful conversation. So, embrace the magic of Savenda potatoes. They're not just a side dish, they're the heart and soul of your kitchen. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
Are you looking for a reliable and efficient courier company with international standards? Then let UBZ Courier, your trusted partner in swift and secure deliveries, be your ultimate choice. Whether it's a small package or a hefty consignment, UBZ Courier handles it all, locally and internationally. Our modern call center ensures personalized attention for every client. For seamless deliveries within Zambia and beyond, trust UBZ Courier. Call us now on +260 763 062 680 or visit us at plot number 15 Mwapona Road, Woodlands, Lusaka, Zambia. UBZ Courier, a world-class brand that can be trusted.
With this impending drought, it's time we look to alternatives of sustaining our crops. We as ISDP are promoting irrigation and water harvesting as the solution to challenges posed by climate change. Watch our 13-week series as we unfold the solutions for our crops. Catch us every Monday at 2040 hours, repeats every Tuesday at 1910.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll now continue with more news. A Cato-based cleric has joined cause to have 24 million United States dollars forfeited from former Konkola copper mines provisional liquidator Milungolungu reinvested into the mine. Pastor Charles Chilensha of Christ My Life Ministries says the mine is financially limping, hence doing so will help in revamping its operations. Pastor Chilensha, however, predicts a looming job loss in the mining sector, citing the termination of employment contracts for over 300 workers by Mastermind Service Limited.
Payment of or receipt of their payments from Konkola Copper Mines PLC have now resorted to actually terminating the contracts of their employees. Mastermind, one of the major contractors of Konkola Copper Mines PLC, has since terminated the contracts of over 250 of their workers. If this situation is not looked into very critically and very expeditiously, we expect to see a very jobless and a very desolate and problematic and crime actually looming Copperbelt province. I therefore appeal to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, to look into the affairs and the plight of the workers, contractors, and suppliers of Konkola Copper Mines PLC by injecting or re-injecting or plowing back the $24 million that was forfeited to the state by the former provisional liquidator of KCM, Mr. Milingolungu, because the $24 million belongs to Konkola Copper Mines PLC. If that money could be plowed back into the financial stream of Konkola Copper Mines PLC, it could help to pay contractors, workers, as well as suppliers. That can solve the short-term problem of contractors, suppliers, and workers.
A Catholic clergy in Chikakata district, Father Claire Moya of Divine Mercy Parish, has held the government for committing to the welfare of the citizens while calling for the need to support and pray for the government rather than criticizing its efforts. Father Moya explains that the strides through the Constituency Development Fund is key in addressing different developmental needs. And Chikakanta Member of Parliament Jacqueline Sabao affirmed the positive relationship between the government and the church.
So all this, we work with and pray for those in leadership that we can team. All stakeholders, we need to work together. We distance ourselves from those who choose not to see the good works government is doing. We distance ourselves from those who wish our leaders to fail. Those who don't when our leaders make mistakes or when their good plans do not work out. We distance ourselves from such. Ours is to work with and to appreciate what our brothers and sisters in government are doing. They may have various here and there, but with our encouragement,
the constituents and even at national level, I'm following, this government is working very well with the church because we believe that without the church, there will be no peace. And where there's peace, where there's unity, there's development. And that's the focus of this new government under the able leadership of His Excellency, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. So the people of Namalundu, the only thing I can urge you or ask you is that always let's pray for our leaders, especially your son, Hakainde Hichilema. He needs your support, he needs your prayers so that he can have wisdom. That man, you see, he doesn't sleep thinking about us, the 20 million Zambians. It's not easy. We have all these challenges. As we are talking right now, we have the challenge of drought, which has brought in poverty among our people.
The opposition Citizens First Party has described the decision by the Lasaka Water and Sewerage Company to ration water supply owing to the current load shedding as shocking and reckless. Citizens First spokesperson Frank Sichone says this development will result in the escalation of waterborne diseases such as typhoid, dysentery and cholera, among others. He adds that Lasaka Water and Sewerage Company should have instead engaged ZESCO to adjust their schedule to meet their plan of water supply in the country. Mr. Sichone has since challenged ZESCO to explain why it has been load shedding strategic institutions such as Lasaka Water and Sewerage Company and other hospitals.
Today, Lasaka Water and Sewerage had a press briefing where they have actually informed the people or the nation that they are going to do some water rationing. Now, we are very disappointed that Lasaka Water was able to actually even have that press conference to start with, in the sense that the time they spent, they should have spent it with ZESCO. As far as we are concerned, Lusaka Water is a strategic institution, so it cannot be load-shedded like any other ordinary institution. That's not correct. So they cannot bring that excuse that no, ZESCO is actually load-shedding them. This is very unfortunate, and we are calling upon the Minister Mike Imposha, the Minister of Water and Sanitation, to immediately intervene in this matter, because if this matter is not dealt with, currently Lusaka Water hasn't been even doing well. We're going to have waterborne diseases that are going to break out in Lusaka. Dysentery, typhoid, cholera, and all these diseases are going to actually start spreading everywhere. So we call upon management at Lusaka Water as well to go and sit down with ZESCO so that they can stop load shedding them, just like they don't load shed other strategic institutions like hospitals. And we also call upon ZESCO to follow their schedule, which they have circulated. We have noticed that ZESCO likes to just switch on and off power at will, at any time they feel like. They don't actually follow the schedule. This becomes very difficult for people to plan, and we need them to make sure that they follow the schedule so that they don't inconvenience us. The people want a schedule that's going to be followed by them and also by ZESCO.
We now take our last break. I will be back with some international stories as well as sports news.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
And now for the rest of the news. In international news, search and rescue crews were still working at the site of the disaster a week after the accident in the city of George in the Western Cape province. On Monday, municipal authorities said the fatalities had topped 23. An investigation to establish the cause of the collapse is ongoing. On Saturday, a man was pulled from underneath the rubble 116 hours after the accident. The building, whose construction was approved last July, was meant to be a 42-unit apartment block. It came down shortly after 2 p.m. local time on Monday. Here's a roundup of international news.
Search and rescue crews were still working at the site of the disaster a week after the accident in the city of George in the Western Cape province. On Monday, municipal authorities said the fatalities had topped 23. An investigation to establish the cause of the collapse is ongoing. The country's public works minister was due to visit the accident scene on Monday, local media reported. On Saturday, a man was pulled from underneath the rubble 116 hours after the accident. The building, whose construction was approved last July, was meant to be a 42-unit apartment block. It came down on Monday. Around 75 construction workers are believed to have been on site at the time of the accident. 15 people remain hospitalized and many are still missing. There have been allegations that most of the crew were foreign nationals. The government said it would contact the diplomatic missions of Zimbabwe, Malawi and Mozambique without confirming the claims.
Residents in Haiti are struggling to process the trauma of a crisis which has engulfed the country in the past few months. At a recent training session in a relatively safe section of Port-au-Prince, parents learned games to put a smile on their children's faces. The parents are often so distraught and discouraged they don't have the energy to care for their children. I don't give them the opportunity to worry about the shooting in a violent situation because I take care of their time, and other times I take them to the park and play with them. Students often throw up or wet themselves when gunfire erupts outside their school in northern Port-au-Prince. UNICEF's Haiti representative said the violence has displaced more than 360,000 people, the majority women and children.
This violence is traumatizing, a generation of children here and young people. So that's why this violence needs to stop. That's why we need security, we need protection, and we need to restore some hope and services in safe environment.
In a bid to help save Haiti's youngest generation, the country is undergoing a wider push to dispel a long-standing taboo on seeking therapy and talking about mental health. The Egyptian Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced Egypt's formal joining of South Africa's case against Israel at the International Court of Justice, ICJ. The case accuses Israel of violating its obligations under the Genocide Convention during its conflict with the Gaza Strip. Egypt cited escalating Israeli aggression against Palestinian civilians as the reason for its decision to join the case. Egypt, along with Turkey and Colombia, will request to join South Africa's case against Israel. The ICJ issued an interim ruling in January finding a plausible risk of genocide in Gaza and ordering Israel to take provisional measures to prevent genocidal acts. The court's final ruling on the genocide case is expected to take several years. Israel has denied the allegations, stating its acts in accordance with international law in Gaza, and has criticized South Africa's case as baseless.
In sports news, Red Arrows midfielder Alassane Diarra was crowned ABSA Cup 2024 Best Player after helping the Airmen lift the trophy following their 2-1 win over Cabo Warriors in an epic final played at Hira Stadium in Lusaka. Diarra has been prolific for the MTN Super League leaders since his homecoming and proved vital in Sunday's ABSA Cup final when he netted the second goal 3 minutes before the break. Ricky Banda's goal 20 seconds from the start of the game took his tally to 4 and well suited for the Golden Boot Award during the award presentation graced by President and first patron Hakainde Hichilema. Despite going out in the semi-finals with Nchanga Rangers, goalkeeper Victor Chabu took home the Golden Glove Award after picking 2 Man of the Match awards en route to the last 4. All the awards had a 25,000 kwacha package attached to them. For winning the trophy, Red Arrows took home 800,000 kwacha, while Cabo Warriors took home 350,000 kwacha. Their defender, Kilian Kanguluma, won the Finals Player of the Match award. That's it for our main news tonight. Here's a recap of the stories making headlines. Water rationing to begin in Lasaka due to load shedding. UPND issued 7-day ultimatum to Auditor General over CDF misappropriation. Ex-State House spokesman Chander challenges 12 months sentence. In international news, death toll from South Africa building collapse rises to 23. And in sports news, Arrows sweep the ABSA Cup awards. Our verse for the night is coming from the book of 1 Corinthians 10, verse 13. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, He will also provide a way out so that you can enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. Do enjoy the rest of our programming. Good night.